one thing I wanted to talk about today was being a therapist. Oh, Justine had an input. Go for it.
I want my question, but it'll come after you've.
Yeah, it'll come up. So, come on, darling. One thing I wanted to talk about today was being a therapist and some of the loneliness that is involved once you learn this stuff because you can't unlearn it. And it does change you as well. And this is something that Felicity Borg made apparent when I was talking to her. And I thought, yes, this is very true. And it's something that can hugely impact us, especially when we first come into the industry and kind of a little bit as veterans, because it doesn't affect me or you so much now, but it still has an impact as such. But before we get started, normal or not, to let your cat just take over the freaking desk every single day. Yeah. All right. Is it normal or not to not know how to reverse park?
Like reverse into a car park.
Hmm.
I think people will probably know how to do it, but people won't do it.
Yeah, that's true.
One, it
That,
takes quite a while. It's not just flicking in unless you've got a little tiny car. But God, if I was reverse parking in town in my big ute, it's a long ute. It would be, yeah,
do
fun.
you think it like I come off a farm, so it was nothing for us to
Yep.
jump on a tractor or something like that. I can back trailers, drive trucks and all that sort of stuff. Do you think that makes a difference having that extra experience? Because I'll just
Oh,
reverse in no worries.
yeah, because we do like that's the same with me. Horse floats. I mean, you've got to park it all the time. You've got to pull it
Hmm.
out, park it. But I don't think it's normal for people to be able to do it well because you just don't need to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially people with tiny little like little cars. It must be. I'm not used to having a tiny little car. I don't think.
So my
Oh, yeah,
sister would never
I had a
do it.
little 500cc mirror when I was in my 20s. Now I look back thinking, how did
The
GMH?
steering was different back then, you must
Yeah,
admit. Even
500
little cars were trucks.
tiny. I used to be like, do you know that I can get to like a whole nother town and back with 20 bucks? It's because the so tiny. But now I remember one lady saying to me, did you know that if you were in a crash, your daughter would die because the car is so tiny? Like there's no room between her and the door. And I had never thought about that. I was in my 20s. For me, it was just like,
Yeah, an efficient car. I'll tell you about my first car, right? It was a little Nissan Pulsar, so a tiny little two-door thing. It had a hole in the passenger's front seat down in the floor. So, roadworthies were different back then. So
but
it
you could
had a
speed up and push it if you.
Yeah, like a Flintstones car. And there was just a piece of wood across it so that way when it was raining, it didn't get as wet. The heater didn't work, but it made a real annoying sound. So that way, it kind of distracted you, when you needed to. There was a drip right above my head on the driver's side that I'd fill with candle wax because it would drip between your legs. And I used to smoke my cigarettes and then flick them out the hole that was in the passenger side floor so I didn't have to stop driving.
Yeah, it's like these days, yeah,
That'd be so unroadworthy these days. And the only reason why I got rid of that car, because one day I was flying down the highway and the bonnet blew off it. Because it was a piece of junk, but it was all I could afford and it was amazing. The bonnet blew off it and a truck behind it ran over the bonnet. And when I pulled over, I was like, oh shit, what do I do? My car's stuffed, and the bloody truck driver had a drill. So he drilled in the holes into the bonnet and cable tied it back on. And it was like that until the motor shit itself.
yeah.
Oh, good times. They were good times.
I
And
was gonna say
that's,
when we were young, we always had cable ties in the car, duct,
yes.
the duct tape, because the amount of times I duct taped hoses, hoses, the hoses in the engine.
Oh, I
So
thought you were like siphoning petrol or
overheating.
something.
No, like when the engine starts overheating, you tape it up to get it to fix. Because I've got a brother that was someone that was cars, so I got
Yep.
cable ties and electric tape,
You could
and
fix anything with a shifter and a screwdriver with those old cars.
yeah, I always have a screwdriver and pliers in the bonnet,
Yep.
and then I'm going to fix this myself thing.
Yeah, yeah, and you did. And you
Easy.
did.
no way. Like, you can't just fix a problem anymore, because most of them are always electric or
Mm.
happening in the car. I had to find this week a what's it called, a turbo, because
Yep.
for a whole month my truck, when I pulled out, would go really slow, and then it would let out smoke, and then it would take off, and I'm like, and it was only a little bit, and then it got
That's not
worse,
good.
worse and worse, and now I was like, I can fix this. So I, found where the air filter is, and I vacuumed that out and cleaned it, and it still happened. And I was like, oh, this is bigger. And so, yeah, onto the boys to organise. I shouldn't say boys, because the daughters
You're doing it as well.
do. So there's girls and boys that are good with cars. But yeah, so yesterday, I had to go to all the wreckers and find a turbo to
Oh,
put it,
yay.
and I found one.
Ooh.
So I'm happy it's in my car now. And when I went to get it, they looked at me, and then they had it there, probably ready to give to a mechanic. And then they went and got plastic, and they wrapped it all up, so it was nice and clean for me to get back to my car.
Oh. So yeah, so let's talk about the loneliness that can be associated with becoming a therapist on any level, let alone a hypnotist as
Yeah.
well. Felicity Board brought this up when I did the gut-directed hypnosis training in Sydney, and I think it was her daughter was having a baby, and she was like saying to her daughter, "Look, breathe like this. You know, I've done hypnobirthing, etc., etc." And her daughter literally yelled at her, saying, I just want you to be my mum, not the therapist.
Had that before.
So, what's your experience with that?
Exactly the same words.
Exactly the same.
My daughter said exactly the same words, and it was actually the best thing she ever did. And I'm still bad at it, because I thought about it, and I was like, hang on, the mum is the one that you go, well, if you've got that kind of relationship, a mum is someone that you can just go and blurt out your thoughts, and not, it doesn't need to be analyzed or helped. And I was like, I'd taken that away. So I try very hard not to, I call it therapize people, because people just want to, it actually feels really good. Like, I've got, probably even you, Trish, that I dump, that are
Yeah.
like,
I think we need to recognize the difference between venting and problem solving as well, because just a really good vent
is,
can
is,
can be the solution. It's not that you want to change or that this is your fault. It's just you need to get it out of your system.
yeah, which is what, like, even, when I did that supervision, last week, one of the biggest things is sometimes, just when you're frustrated, having someone to say it to without them going, well, how could you have dealt, like, you can't, you do that as well,
Are
but,
you feeling triggered?
yeah, exactly, like, what's your part, what's your part in it? I mean, all of that kind of stuff you are supposed to say, but just even having someone that's got your back, that you can safely say, oh my fuck, seriously, have that kind of,
And I think this segues towards especially newbies that have just come out. You can solve the problems of the world. You really can. But at the end of the day, the world doesn't want the problem solved. And that doesn't make you a bad, it doesn't, yeah, exactly. It doesn't make you a bad therapist or anything. You have to recognize when, with that group of people that you're hanging out with, when are they actually seeking solution? And you can step in and go, hey, I'm a hypnotist, maybe we could do something. Or are they just venting and trying to get it off their chest and they trust you to vent too?
yeah, yeah. And I think yeah, I think permission is really important. And I mean, I probably am bad at turning things around to work, because it's just all I do all day, all night, is work stuff.
Well, we
So,
want to help people and we know we can help people.
but you do need to have permission. And there's a difference between someone chatting with you and someone saying, hey, what do you think? What could I have done different? I guess that's the line. And yeah, when you do start, you hear all this amazing information, and you do kind of, you're, like, and this is how I liken it. And talking on cars, there's people that can hear a car and say exactly what's wrong by the noise it's making, right? Their ear, their tuning is so good that they can hear and go, that's a turbo wheel, or that's a something, because they know. And a normal person that isn't in that world wouldn't hear that. They'll just hear an engine or nothing. So when we do this kind of influence and mind stuff, we hear things that other people don't because it's our world and we live in it. So
Good metaphor.
we notice people's eyes when they change. We notice
We
mannerisms.
notice tone and their
Notice
hand
okay,
gestures and stuff.
what's said. We notice what's not said. Like we are trained in hearing what's not said more than what's said. That's what we do as hypnotherapists. That's what we do in mental health. We hear that what's unsaid. So to turn that off when you're in public, you kind of can't do it. You do get one thing I do get used to. It's like that part gets put to the side so that I can have fun, so that I can sit around and talk shit with people, and that's me as well. But yeah, but learning when you're starting out, learning to put that to the side,
Distinguish that line.
I did, is difficult, but you do learn with time, and it is usually someone like what she experienced, and I experienced the same thing. It is someone generally pulling you up, or people are like, oh, don't want to chat with her anymore because she tries to fix me all the time. So, and that's where you went into loneliness too. Your friend groups change.
Yeah, and that's where you have to delve into community. So that's one thing I love about Australian Hypnosis Conference is the Saturday night dinner. It is designed to step you out of therapist mode and into fun mode and be in with those people that think and feel like you do so it can recharge you.
Talking about the conference,
Hmm?
fun night. Are you talking about at the conference?
Yeah, the Saturday night dinner, because like it gets you into that zone where you don't have to be the specialist, the professional, the teacher, the student, the therapist. You can just be yourself and be silly and talk to other people. Hmm?
Not you. You can meet Justine under a little bit of influence. It's crazier than the normal Justine. Like,
But yeah, and you can just be yourself because like this industry can be lonely, especially if you work remotely or if you're just working online all the time. Sure, you've got your client, but that is not friendship connection or like-minded connection. And that's why it's vitally important to show up for the extra trainings or to pop into the meetup or something like that and just have a chat to someone, have that vent
yeah,
as
yeah,
such. We don't all need to have a hypnosis session to feel better.
yeah. And like, yeah, like you said, when we do the supervision kind of, or catch ups, whatever we call them, where you actually can catch up as a group, and then you get put in a room with someone and you can
Yeah,
make
like you
might not like them, but you
yeah.
might make a real connection there that you do
Yeah,
that you can now catch up with when you need someone to talk to.
yeah, and yours, that's what we do. Like, we you paired up with someone, whether you know them or not, is a completely different scenario.
And I
And
purposely do people that don't know each other. I try to.
yeah, yeah, and then have a chat and find what they're going through, relate to it, and vice versa. And who knows what kind of a network that you might create? You might think, you know what? Like, I would never have met Lisa Forsberg or Amber if I wasn't in the hypno scene. And we've got a little group chat where we talk about, holidays or send funny cat videos and stuff like that. And that's not about us being therapists to each other. That's about us refilling our cups all together as a group so we can keep going on being therapists.
Yeah, and my hope with those groups is that, because not everyone gels, but, and because we put people in different groups, the hope is that they get put into a group and suddenly they really click with someone. And then that's the person that they keep on catching up with. And then they've got a support person that, that understands what they do. The biggest thing with there, like you said, we work online. It's a very, I'd say,
That physical connection.
social job because you're not out and about doing things, and it can even make being out and about doing things harder. Can you? I think my live shut off. Maybe not, but yeah.
And that's why people like you and I organize the hypnosis conferences. So
Yeah,
that way you can find your people and you can talk to them. We're not looking for people that want to, be in a soccer mum group as such and kind of poke fun at each other. We're
yeah,
looking at a whole entire community And then you segue off to someone like Stuart Walter because you're interested in sports, someone like me because you're interested in gut stuff, someone like you because you want to do Simpson Protocol or Golden Thread. It can help you navigate that mapping system to where you want to strive. Like one thing I love with Lisa Forsberg is that the year that she came to Australian Hypnosis Conference, that was her last ditch effort at being a hypnotherapist. And she only came because one of her other friends that I didn't know at the time, Rodney, was like, look, let's go, we'll see what happens. And that conference launched her.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
not only did she save her business, she also learned how to network, how to niche. She's now making more money than she's ever made. She's off in Bali at the moment enjoying a family holiday because we've
yeah,
taught her with the modern mentoring, doing structures and, budgeting and all that sort of stuff. She's gotten herself into a clinic where she works with people, you know, and just to think that it had gotten to a stage for her that it was just too hard.
yeah,
And if it wasn't for her coming into the community and going, look, I'm just here to see what you guys are like, then we would have lost another amazing person who has this great knowledge to some dead end job, pushing groceries or something because that was just easier.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it is all about connection. And like
Mm.
I said, even I say to my students sometimes, if because when we do mentoring on Thursdays, and sometimes people stop coming to mentoring because they're having a downer or they're not doing their hypno at the time. And I'm like, that's actually the time to come along because you don't have to have questions, you don't have to have anything to talk about. But I think we've talked about this. I'm really into mind mapping. So spend time with people that you want to be like, or spend time with people that are on the same wavelength, because then your mind is mapping them.
Mm.
Yeah,
It might ignite that fire in you.
yeah, and instead of mapping what you're watching on TV or what you're listening to, or watching, if people watch the news, our mind is constantly mapping to the environment and changing so that we fit in. So we have to make sure that we're spending time with people that are on the same wavelength so that we are mapping into that energy. And it's not a woo-woo thing. They've been able to see how brains change from the environment, and even your face shape, I read, can change within 10 years of being with a partner. Our mind is constantly mapping to the community for safety, so we become like the people we're around. So it's really important, if you're in the hypnotherapy business and that's what you love to do, if you want to keep that passion alive, is to be around people and to be doing things within that space, so that that fire stays there, or else you'll map to the next thing or the next thing. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
for me, is really important, and especially if people are having a lonely or having a bit of a downtime, there's never any pressure. Maybe sometimes you put on the spot, but there's not any pressure to, hey, tell us about yourself, or you know
No, we're not putting on a happy song and everybody's jumping around. Like, we just
just
want to
about
have
making
conversation.
sure that you are around, as long as that's your community, because it doesn't need to be our community. There's tons of
It can
hypnosis.
be any community, and make sure that you're with a community that resonates with you. So, for example, with yours and my community, we'd like to be down to earth. You're happy swigging on a drink whilst we're talking. I'm happy to say get fucked. Nah, way, not doing that. And then there are other communities that may be a bit more professional or scripted. You have to go with a community that you're resonating with. But one of the key factors as well is when you're in these communities, hear about their failure stories. Because every time we're looking on social media or anything, it's always about the success. They're not talking about the clients that they've failed with, the loneliness that they've dealt with, the car they used to have, that they used to have the cigarettes and throw out the out the floor and stuff like that. Go with that community that you resonate with and are happy to talk about those stories, because at least that way you can go, oh, you're human as well. Like you just this morning talking about your light. It doesn't matter.
And and another thing, I always hear from people, "Oh, I'm thinking about giving up because I'm only having a couple of clients." And I'm like, you and nearly every hypnotherapist in New Zealand right now is only having a couple of clients. You're no different. They're like, but it looks like everybody else is doing well. Of course, it looks like everyone's doing well. That's
That's
what
social media.
social media. That's marketing. But when you are around people, in our community, just like every other business, we have waves where you have make hay when the sun is shining. So you'll have good weeks where you suddenly have all these clients come in, and then for some unknown reason, the world goes quiet for 2 weeks, and it goes quiet for every. I message, hey, how are you doing? Oh, it's quiet this week. Everyone says the same answer. But when people don't, they're not talking to other people. They think it's personal, and maybe this is the universe saying that I shouldn't be doing this, and it's because there's no one else to compare it off. So even they're having people to say, hey, how are you doing? Are you getting clients? What's going on? And when they hear everybody else that's kind of in the same boat, they're like, oh, well, maybe I can hang, and maybe it isn't about me. Maybe I don't suck at my job. We all, God, me and my friend Caroline, we talk about that all the time. Oh, maybe I suck. Maybe I should just do something. Have a client or something that doesn't gel. And you can have, we're human. We have those things come up, and then we just like, and we laugh about it because it's funny. But yeah, it's when you've got people to bounce off in the same industry, at least you can.
Yeah, you can find out what's going on, and they can throw around ideas as well. There's no reason like Lisa and Amber joined up doing a session at Australian Hypnosis Conference together, to see if they gel. And I'm like, hey, do one session, see how you guys go, and then go from there. Because there's no point in signing a 12-month contract if you're not quite sure if you like this person enough to be able to work with them. Because there is a difference between working with someone and working with someone.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you never know. You might go, look, let's do a session together. We'll tap into each other's audiences and go from there.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, by all means, like if you're feeling down, out, like you're not achieving or something like that, jump into the sessions, get your fire ignited again. And like they say, half the battle is showing up.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
show up. We don't mind if you show up and you're on mute and you're not going to talk. Write it in the chat, hey, I'm just having a quiet one, I'm just listening in. Go for it because you showed up. And something that somebody says along the way might be enough for you to go, great idea.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that is what launches you.
yeah, yeah.
So thanks everybody for tuning in. And yeah, I don't mind reverse parking. There's no issues with that. Get
Yeah,
out of my way.
I can do it, just not in town with my big ute. I wouldn't even bother.
Nah, you're driving around the block.
Supermarket's easy. But, all right. See you guys.
See you everybody. Bye bye.